Welcome in, guys, or I hope welcome back to the Marshall Experience. Tonight we're in some special gear, right? The boys play this week. We play Dallas. It's Dallas week. We'll get the job done, right? But that's not what we're here for, right? We're going to preview this game in a completely different way tonight. We're going to preview this game the fantasy way. Okay, tonight on a Tuesday, typically we're going to get into later. We're going to do a recap. Later on, we're going to basically break down for everybody what to expect on each night for the NFL season. And then, like I said, we're going to break down the Cowboys-Eagles Thursday night game and kind of preview into how fantasy relevancy we see this game going. Okay. Before we get into that, obviously, we'll talk about who we are powered by, the Sports Lounge Media. And guys, we are on the Facebook tonight. Anybody that has not gone and checked out Sports Lounge Media, please go check out any platform from YouTube to Facebook to Instagram, LinkedIn. Go check them out, guys. Go check them out. Going to be the next biggest sports thing if we keep doing our thing. So please like, subscribe. It's free. You don't have to pay anything, but it means a lot to us. Okay. And of course, sponsored by the Mogul brand and Diamond Collection. And us here at the Marshall Experience, right, are as a part of that Sports Lounge Media. So, of course, when you go over there, give us a like and a subscribe as well, especially on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, which we are all live on tonight. So, let's get right into the swing of things. So, what can you expect from each show Tuesday and Saturdays? Okay. Tuesday nights, right, 8 o'clock Central, we're going to go on. And from there, we're going to cover the Sunday games and the Monday games. And we are going to recap. Okay, so it's going to be Tuesday recaps. All right. We're going to recap, like I said, Sunday and Monday night games. Okay. Recap. Pretty self-explanatory. Then we're going to preview Thursday's game. Okay. Then our Saturday show, we will recap Thursday and preview what is coming Sunday and Monday. Okay, so that kind of makes sense. So Saturdays are going to set you up for the week, and Tuesdays are going to be like, oh, let's see how everybody did, to simplify things. All right, so that's what you can kind of break it down into. Which episode do I want to watch? Do I want the fantasy advice on Saturdays of who to start and who to sit? Or do I want the Tuesdays of, well, how did I do this week? How did everybody else do this week? Who were the best players? Who should I be paying attention to? Well, if I'm being honest, I'd want both. So it's just more of a reason to like and follow and subscribe, right? But anyway, guys, so let's get into the bigger picture here. The bigger picture while we're here tonight. Week 1, Dallas Eagles, Thursday night football, season opener. What else can we ask for? Okay, but football is here regardless of who is playing. Okay, so all NFL fans should be happy that we have NFL football back. We have fantasy football back at that. Okay, super excited for this season to kick off. I do have a couple players in this game being played among my fantasy leagues, and none of them are Cowboys. Guys, I had probably 10 years that I've been doing fantasy football, probably longer than that. I'm probably not adding up. But seriously, it's like diving into and taking it seriously at least 10 years. I have never drafted a Dallas Cowboy. Never traded for a Dallas Cowboy. I've never drafted one. It is not in my veins. It is not in my blood. It'll never happen a day in its life. And that's the God's honest truth. You'll never see me with Dak Prescott, CD Lamb. It don't matter if Saquon Barkley, God rest his soul, if he went to Dallas. It would never happen. It would never happen. But I do have a couple Eagles playing in this game. But again, we are going to cover both sides of this, Dallas and Philly. So we're just going to go by position. Okay, we're going to go by position, and we'll start off with the quarterbacks. Okay, so Dak Prescott this week is projected at 19 points. 19 points. Okay. Let's go into Dak Prescott's game log from last year. Okay. Because he didn't play us either week. He got hurt the week before they came to us and then was out for the rest of the season. So early first week of the season last year was quarterback 22. Only had 12 fantasy points, 180 yards and a touchdown. Okay, nothing impressive. Was the bottom half of the quarterbacks in fantasy land. Week 2, he was quarterback 15, middle of the pack, at 13 points. Okay, threw the ball 39 times, but only threw for 293 and a touchdown and 2 picks. See, that 2 picks, guys, is a big thing because those are negative points. Okay, we don't want one that is going to keep throwing interceptions, and Dak Prescott is known to, especially Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, these guys that like to pass the ball 40 times a game are more optimistic to throwing more interceptions than the running type is. They don't have the ability to roll out of the pocket and take the ball up 10 yards. No, they'd rather force it and potentially throw a pick, right? So what do we expect him against Philly? Okay, I think that this is his best offense in recent years, having Lamb, having George Pickens now. They don't have a running game. I think the offensive line has downgraded. Losing Zach Martin would be a huge miss out of the season. He's an all-pro lineman. But where do we see Dak Prescott in fantasy production land? Okay, for me, again, having Lamb, having Pickens, I think the passing game has high potential, just not week 1. I think this defense is set out yet to prove that they're still the Super Bowl defense. Okay? This is not just an ordinary game, guys. This is Philly playing Dallas. All week they've been asked about Super Bowl banners, this, that, Super Bowl, that. We've moved on. This is Dallas week. We've moved on to the 2026 season. We were last year's champs, and that's the facts. Okay? So it just is what it is. But on the other side of that, at his 19 points, I think that Dak will get his projection. I had him about 18, 19 points. Okay? And that's, I think, with Dak Prescott throwing for 2 touchdowns. And I think that's all the points that Dallas gets in week 1. Okay, I had a 35-14 victory with the Eagles in an earlier podcast, and I'm sticking with that. But I think that those 2 touchdowns, they're not going to come from the ground unless they were on a goal line situation, a number, like a 1-yard line situation. But even then, I'm giving the 2 touchdowns to Dak Prescott, probably either 2 to Lamb or 1 of each to Pickens and Lamb. Yeah, I do. I just see it. I mean, our CB2 is weak, guys. Our CB2 is weak, and Quinyon is probably going to be following CD Lamb because he was training this whole offseason to be able to do that. So why not test it out week 1 against a premier top talent in the league? Let's see if Quinyon can stick with the top-tier talent all game long. And I believe that he can. Okay, last year he proved that he belonged in the top 100. He was voted into it. Now it's time to prove you belong here. Okay? This is what it is. So let's get to the other side of that. Jalen Hurts. Okay, Jalen Hurts is projected at 24 points per game to Dak Prescott's 19. Now, why is that? Because I've said before, these dual threat quarterbacks are more valued in fantasy lands because of the rushing production. It's a simple fact. Okay, so let's get into he's projected at 213 passing, a touchdown and a half, which is obviously can't happen, but he's either going to have 1 or 2. And they're projecting for 35 yards on the ground and a 0.5 touchdown. So does he rush for a touchdown? Obviously, I think with the tush push, Usually that's a sports bet that I take is Jalen Hurts on a tush push. I definitely see Jalen Hurts meeting that. I would say I had him in a 26 to 28 point range. So I guess it would be a little bit more. But again, it's because of that rushing production. I mean, he could have 2 rushing touchdowns and then throw for 2 passing touchdowns. And you know what I mean? That's already enough points right there. So for me, I think it comes down to the matchup, right? They just traded Micah Parsons. I think they take advantage of that. I think Saquon has a big day. I think we run some major play action. I really think that this offensive coordinator is going to open this playbook up and say, this is what I got for you. Okay. He's probably going to put it in Jalen Hurts and Saquon's. He's probably put it in the team's hands. There's so much talent on the team. He's like, what do you guys want to do? They probably responded. That's how I see this season opener going. Okay, biased aside, I just think that there's a lot of people that still have yet to prove something. Jalen Hurts is out of everybody's top 5, it seems, which is asinine to me. Saquon Barkley gets number 1. Oh, he didn't deserve that. Should have been a quarterback. I mean, the people have something to prove. We lost a lot of people on the defense, right? The defense will never be the same. Something to prove. And again, there's not a better opponent to drop the banner on than the Cowboys. So again, I just think it's bad timing, right? It just is what it is. I think this is going to be a BTA moment, and let's just accept it. So I do have Hurts going a little bit over 24, but both quarterbacks meeting projections. Now, we're getting to the little interesting part of this. Let's start on Dallas' side with Javonte Williams, Jadon Blue, and potentially Miles Sanders, I guess. They got Javonte Williams at 12.5. I'll keep this short and sweet. Not happening. Like, that's so touchdown dependent. It's not even funny. Okay, that would be 120 yards in just points for him not to score, right? Do I think that Javonte Williams scores? He has the potential for a touchdown on a goal line situation, but I don't see him being a big part of the plan anyway. Our run defense is pretty stout and was last year. Not much has changed. Okay, yeah, the defensive line. We still have Jalen Carter. Now Jordan Davis is starting, who's a run stopper. Okay, then we have the 2 young guys on the edge, Hunt and Smith. It's just not going to happen. So Javonte Williams getting 12 points, it's not going to happen. I see more of a 7-8. And that's even pushing it because that's 70 to 80 yards. I could see like a 4 to 5 point performance. As for Jadon Blue, 6 points, again, 60 yards. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. Maybe a 3. Maybe 3 points. Miles Sanders, he'd be lucky to get a point. I just don't see it. I don't. They're going to be pass heavy. They're going to be pass heavy. As for the Eagles, is projected at 20.15. So about 20 points. Okay, I think that is pretty easy for him, considering that's, let's see here. Let's see if he had another one last year. Yeah, he had one against Dallas in week 17, which was 19 points. It was 167 yards on the ground, no touchdowns. Okay. I think Saquon runs for a touchdown week 1, at least one, right? On Dallas's team that just traded Micah Parsons, that was already bad in the run, I take that bet. Okay. So, I mean, we need probably 100 yards and 100 yards and a touchdown. That's 16 points. So let's say 120 and a touchdown. That'll get us our projection. That's not to mention receiving stats. Okay, that's not mentioning, catches. So he had 2 that week that he had nearly 20. So we're talking 2, 3 catches. They said they were going to involve Saquon more in the passing game. Now we get to see that. Okay. And then Will Shipley at 3, and AJ Dillon at less than a point. I think I don't think they both either get that. I think AJ Dillon may break his. I think he may get a point or two. He may get a pass catch in there. He may get a third down conversion, whatever it is. But I see Barkley playing 85% of the time. So that was the guy I would bet on. Now we go into the wide receiver room. This time I'll start on the wide receiver side here of the Philadelphia's. AJ Brown is projected at 15 points. Okay. Now, let's look at some of AJ Brown's game logs from last year. And he got hot at the end. Turned in 2 top wide receiver 8s performances with 25 points each. Little around, average about 100 yards and a touchdown. Okay. Honestly, that secondary is going to have to stay busy. It's a lose-lose situation. You either worry about Saquon and you allow 2 all-pro wide receivers loose, or you focus on the all-pro wide receivers and then Saquon's running loose. It's a lose-lose with the top 2 offensive line. It's a lose-lose situation. But I think that AJ Brown here, I'm willing to take the 15 points, maybe less, maybe more. But I have to see how this offense is going to partake with the new offensive coordinator before I go booming or busting on any wide receiver in this. Because, you know what I mean? Like, we were a run-first offense last year with Kellen Moore. Okay, Kellen Moore was known for passing the ball with Dak Prescott before he came to Philadelphia. So he obviously changed up and saw that he has Saquon Barkley. And I hope that, and I would think that this offensive coordinator is going to do the same, and Saquon's not going to be affected. But how much he uses Saquon, I do think is going to be affected. Okay, Jalen Hurts might want to throw the ball more. You know, they might have sat everybody down, and AJ was like, "Hey, I'd like to be involved a little bit more." Okay, cool. But know that we have Saquon, right? But we also do have 2 all-pro wide receivers. And I think that 15 points this week for AJ Brown is very deemable. Now, as for Devontae Smith, 12.6, which is, we'll just round up to 13. It's like 70 yards and a touchdown. I think it's very doable. Like I said, I think that this offense, you're going to see a little bit more play action. You're going to see a little bit more of the passing game that we're going to see this year. And I think Smith, I think all the wide receivers, I think even Dotson's going to benefit from it. But I think the 3 recipients are going to be first Brown, Smith, and Goddard. Right. As for Dotson, he's projected at 3 points. Maybe he gets a couple catches, right? He was pretty involved in preseason, pretty involved in training camp. So, you know, maybe they finally found a breakout in him in the offense and he catches 4 or 5 catches. That'd be nice. But we'll see. John Mechie, again, too new. I don't know how he's going to be involved. We'll see about him and Dotson. As for the Dallas Cowboys, we got CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and we'll mention Turpin in there, but Turpin is only going to be valuable that I think in punt return and kick return leagues, to be honest with you. As for Lamb, nearly 17 points. I'm going to go actually under on this, and it's because of only, and I can say this confidently, Quinyon Mitchell. That is the only reason. Okay, he shut down Jamar Chase last year. He shut down Lamb last year, had less than 5 catches. Okay, he shut down some damn good company. And nothing's going to be different now. I think he's taken that step up even in his game. Okay, last year he was just a mentee to Darius Slay. Now he is the guy. And I think that he will show that. Now, will CeeDee Lamb get his targets, get his catches? I'm sure. CeeDee Lamb's a top tier talent. But I don't think that it's going to be 17 points worthy. I mean, we're talking about 100 yards and a touchdown, guys. I think he gets us to maybe a touchdown, but I think it's going to be around 50 to 60 yards. So I would say roughly around 11 to 12 points for CeeDee Lamb week 1. Now, for George Pickens, 13 points, I'm buying that. I like 13 points for George Pickens because I think that the attention will be on CeeDee Lamb. I also think that Philadelphia's CB2 situation is questionable, quite questionable. I think that they will take advantage of that, unfortunately, and George Pickens will have a better game than CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion, on the stat sheet, right? On the stat sheet. So I think that he does have a better game than the 13 points that he's projected. As for Turpin, 6 points. I mean, it's a couple catches, 20 yards, you know what I mean? Whatever. Maybe. If he's the slot guy, sure. You know what I mean? I just don't know they didn't play in preseason either. And I'm not sure how he's going to play into the offense. Jalen Tolbert is still there too, guys. So, it's just kind of one of those like Jahan Dotson, Mechie type situations where I just got to see. Right. We go to the tight ends, right? The tight ends, and we'll start with Dallas and Jake Ferguson, who is really the only one you have to worry about at 8 points. Ferguson really struggled last year. Our tight end 25 at the finish. Only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double-digit games in the entirety of the season. Okay, that's tough. And 3 of those were weeks 3, 4, and 5. So he started off hot and then absolute red from there. Just absolute horrid. Now he didn't have Dak Prescott for most of that. But does that revamp this year? I think the 8 points is respectable. That you can expect from Jake Ferguson. We'll have to, again, see strong linebacking core from Philadelphia. So we'll see how that plays. I think Zach Bond is made that next step in coverage. And, sometimes even that slot corner will guard the tight end, and that's Cooper DeJean. So it's just going to be tough on this defense to really take this and put it into an average. Now, for the Philadelphia side, we'll just talk about Dallas Goedert because, again, I don't think there's any other relevancy here. Dallas Goedert is projected at 9.5, so we'll just say 10. Tight end, 28 last year. Missed some games. Missed about 4 weeks. Right? Missed 4 weeks, then came back and missed the last 4 weeks and then played week 18. Okay, so missed a total of 8 games last year and finished tight end 28. He had, however, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the same amount of double-digit games, but missed 8 more games. So I think for the Dallas Goedert, he isn't, if you watch Eagle games, he is an inclement part of the offense, especially in the RPO game. Him and Jalen Hurts, they get going in that RPO game. Now, do I think that 10 points is deemable? I think that these points will either go to Saquon, AJ, or Devontae Smith before they go to Dallas Goedert. Now, if it's a blowout and it's 41-17, I think that Dallas Goedert is damn deemable for 10 points. But let's see how the offense is going to flow with this new offensive coordinator first. Okay, as for the kickers, both 9 points respectively, I think that's very doable. It just depends on the offenses. I think that Brandon Aubrey may throw a field goal in there. Maybe it's 35-17. But my prediction is 35-14. And when you don't have field goals made, you get just the point for the extra point. And so in that fact, he would just have 2 points. And that's tough. That's tough for a kicker. So, but it's very, very common because, again, when your offense is struggling that day, maybe your kicker is too. Now, if they're struggling in the red zone, well, maybe your kicker's picking up an extra few points. But normally, if your offense is struggling, your quarterback or however your offense is working that week, it's struggling. As for the defenses, now we'll cover this real quick because most leagues have just the team defense. Okay, the Cowboys are projected at 7. Okay, I think it's less than that, and that's a good thing. Okay, I think you're potentially looking at a range from 2 to -5. I mean, I think that this is going to be a problem. They're going to allow a lot of yards on the ground, in the air. Again, Micah Parsons, their best defensive player, just got booted. Okay, just got booted. We don't know what this defense is going to look like. Not to mention, they were already 31st in the league last year to the run with Micah Parsons, I may add. So what does taking it away make it? Well, it's probably dead last. Right? They've made no really good additions. Kenny Clark will help the run defense a little. But again, it's not going to stop Saquon. It's not that good. Kenny Clark is not a game-changing player. Okay, that's why I think Dallas lost that trade. Kenny Clark is not a game-changing player. Okay, now we go to the Eagles defense. They are projected at 11. And honestly, I'll even go a little bit less than that on them too. I'm thinking more 9 to 10 points. Now, you guys do start off with 10 points normally for a team defense, and the more yards or the more points you allow, you lose points. If your team defense doesn't allow points, doesn't allow yards, gets sacks, interceptions, that's all positive. Okay, now I think we do sack Dak Prescott a few times. So that'll be points. I think that you can throw one interception in there. I think I'm going to call it by a linebacker. And then before a corner. A linebacker before a corner. But as for 11 points, I think that 10 points is more redeemable. A couple sacks and we're going to allow a couple touchdowns. This is the first game of the season. We're trying to get used to things. It's just going to happen. And that's okay because we're going to score more than 14 points. But it's how we correct that week 2, how we come out. I'm going to say 10 points for the Eagles defense. Okay. So, guys, this is what we're going to kind of do on a weekly basis. Obviously, when we're doing Saturdays, we're going to kind of speed that process up, considering we have, 16 games normally to talk about. But kind of get a gist of like what we're going to do. We're going to cover the positions, compare the games, who we're going to take over who, and who are the must starts in those games. Okay. But guys, I appreciate it. Good viewership tonight. And I appreciate everybody. If you haven't followed Sports Lounge Media or us here at the Marshall Experience, do so on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, any platform you can really think of. And like, subscribe, guys. It's completely free to do so. And it means the world to us. So, again, guys, appreciate you. And we will see you Thursday night on the Primetime Sports with Down South Philly, previewing and live streaming the game, doing a play-by-play for the game. Can't be more excited than that. NFL season is here. But more importantly, the fantasy season is here. And let's get some games going, right? Let's so we can talk a little shit. I'm excited about it. But guys, I will see you Saturday on here on this channel, 8 p.m. Central Time. The Marshall Experience will be then previewing Sunday, the first week in the NFL. See you guys then. Thank you.